Hey, good morning, folks. I hope everyone is doing well today. Just got out of the gym. I'm sure you're assuming that today was a zone 2 day. So again, we are getting heart rate up to 130. I won't bore you with all of that, but it's been nice. A little over a full week of doing heavy loaded weight, and then the next day, zone 2 cardio. And that's what we've done, back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes it's a full body workout, heavy weight. Sometimes it's an upper body, and sometimes it's lower body. Either way, I have enjoyed the last week of doing alternating days like this. I have not been running full on. I've just been trying to see what kind of results I might get by adjusting the workout as far as getting muscle back prior to the half marathon, as well as keeping cortisol levels low and hormonal levels high, especially growth hormone, again, because I'm trying to put on some muscle. So, going to be another beautiful day today. Thank you for joining us. I will tell you it's probably going to be a boring day from me. I have work to do today. Obviously, it is a Tuesday for me, a Wednesday for you. But out of the way, as always, we'll bring you along with us. I am continuing to finish, I'm almost finished with Atonement, the audiobook. It has been spectacular. Do yourself a favor if you have not read the book and you do enjoy World War II stories or just a nice literature piece. I cannot recommend this one enough, although I'm not sure how it's going to end just yet. It is more of a drama. Don't expect happy endings. So that's all that I will say there. Otherwise, I have the next 3 books queued up, which we will talk about later, and then continuing to finish Death Note. Those are the interests right now. And I really just listened to my audiobook today on the treadmill, which I can do quite easily. I can take my mind out and just focus on the book and walk. And that was nice. That was nice today.
Hey everybody, good morning. It's Julie here. I'm headed out to have an adventure of my own today, and I want to take you guys along with me. I just got a coffee at Krispy Kreme, and it's too hot to drink. I've actually never had a coffee from Krispy Kreme before, but I need a little caffeine to get me started today. Just so you know, Krispy Kreme does not have any sugar-free flavors, so this is just a black coffee. Last week when I went to Ocoee and I was doing some filming there for a video that I'm going to be putting out soon, I really missed what I used to do here on YouTube before Michael and I turned into daily vloggers. And I love daily vlogging, please don't get me wrong. I absolutely love being able to share our life here on YouTube. I love the friends that we've made doing this. But I really miss the kinds of videos that I used to make. And we're going to have to find a way for me to still be able to make some of those videos and still be a daily vlogger. Which means some of the daily vlogs going forward might be getting really, really long, because I'm probably going to put what I do for my history videos into the daily vlogs. But today I decided I want to start a new series, and maybe once a week if I'm able. I might not be able to go out that often, but once a week I would like to pick a random town close enough to me in Florida that I can drive there, you know, in half a day round trip. And I want to ask ChatGPT to tell me a little quick brief history of the town, and then I just want to go be there. I want to see the historical markers. I want to see the murals on the sides of the walls. I just want to experience the town. I would really like to do this to get to know Florida more. I'm new to living in Florida again, but I did kind of do this when we lived in Melbourne 2 years ago. I was just driving everywhere to find historical markers and read them and do a little video on them. And I think instead of doing it that way, like I did in Melbourne, I'm just going to go to the town, pull out my Explore Here app on my phone, and look for historical markers and take you to all the markers. I already can tell this video is going to get super, super long, so I hope you stick around for it. Also, I really like the script that Chat wrote me about the history of where we're going today. So I'm just going to try to drop some of that in as a voiceover on top of the footage that I take. Whew, that was a long introduction. I hope they won't all be this long, but today's video, we are going to St. Cloud. St. Cloud is just a straight shot down 192. It'll probably take me, I think, about 40 minutes to get there. I haven't actually programmed the first historical marker in the map yet. I intended for this series to try to go to a new town and then while I was there hit all of the historical markers in town, but there are so many in St. Cloud. This is definitely a city we will have to visit more than once. So I'm just going to go. I know where I'm going to start, and I'm going to knock out as many historical markers as I can while we're there. And we'll come back another day or maybe multiple times in the future and we will finish knocking out all of the historical markers in St. Cloud. I haven't really thought out a very structured way to do this. I have a really great script from ChatGPT that I want to drop in as voiceovers, but we're going to start the exploration today at the Hamilton-Disston Sugar Plantation historical marker, and I will be bouncing back and forth between historical markers and my script on the history of St. Cloud. So let me show you this historical marker real quick and read to you what it says here. In 1885, Hamilton-Disston created a sugar plantation on drained land near St. Cloud as part of his promotional efforts for Florida. The plantation was successful for a few years and even had its own cane mill. However, when the government stopped offering a bounty on domestic sugar, the plantation failed and much of the machinery was sold for scrap. This failure caused sugar planting in Florida to stop for many years. Alright, let's go check out this historical marker and I will begin my script on the history of St. Cloud. This is probably going to be a random and unhinged vlog and I wouldn't have it any other way. The city of St. Cloud, located along the southern shore of East Lake Tohopekaliga in Osceola County, Florida, has a history unlike most towns in Florida. Rather than beginning as a Spanish settlement, a railroad outpost, or a plantation town, St. Cloud was intentionally founded in the early 20th century as a community for Civil War soldiers from the Union. Its origin, development, and transformation reflect broader patterns in American history: westward migration, veterans' welfare, land development, agriculture, and the growth of Central Florida. St. Cloud's history begins in 1909, when a group of Civil War veterans from the northern United States sought to establish a retirement colony in Florida. The project was organized by the Grand Army of the Republic, a powerful fraternal organization composed of Union Army veterans. The GAR promoted the idea of Florida as a healthy climate for aging veterans, particularly those suffering from war-related illnesses. The land selected for the colony lay in what was then sparsely populated southern Osceola County. The area consisted largely of pine flatwoods, scrub, and wetlands near Lake Tohopekaliga. The veterans purchased land through a development company and laid out a planned town with wide streets, public parks, and a civic center. The settlement was initially called St. Cloud, named after St. Cloud, Minnesota, a town familiar to some of the founders. What made St. Cloud unique was its explicit exclusion of Confederate veterans and former Confederates from land ownership in the colony. Early deeds included clauses barring anyone who had fought for the Confederacy from purchasing property. This policy reflected lingering sectional tensions more than 40 years after the Civil War and made St. Cloud a distinctly northern enclave within the Deep South. There's a little info here. If anybody wants a wicked cool tattoo, here's you a QR code, or you can call Johnny Barrios, 860-836-9465. And I absolutely love this plant. If anybody knows what it's called, please tell me. These leaves are so cool. They remind me of pine cones. If pine cones were flowers, this is what they would be. I love this. What is this? The town grew rapidly in its first decade. By 1911, St. Cloud had established churches, schools, hotels, and businesses. The arrival of the Florida East Coast Railway spur line helped connect the settlement to regional markets and brought in supplies, tourists, and new residents. The railroad was essential to the town's survival, allowing agricultural goods and citrus crops to be shipped north. St. Cloud was officially incorporated as a town in 1911. Its population consisted largely of elderly veterans and their families, but younger settlers soon followed. Despite its origins as a veterans colony, St. Cloud quickly evolved into a more conventional town with civic institutions, a local government, and a growing commercial district centered along Pennsylvania Avenue, which remains the historic heart of the city. Alright, I have just parked the Jeep at what I believe is pretty much downtown St. Cloud. I'm looking at City Hall over there, a really pretty older building that's got scaffolding up around it. My maps tells me there are at least 26, if not more, historical markers here in St. Cloud. We can't possibly hit all of those today, but we're going to hit as many of them as possible. Right, the first iron historical marker, literally right behind where I parked the Jeep, is this one for the Veterans Memorial Library, which was founded in 1910 by the Ladies Improvement Club of St. Cloud in order to promote literacy and community betterment. The collection was moved to various locations before the club secured lots on Massachusetts Avenue for a new library building in 1915. The library was constructed in 1922 with funding from Union Army veterans and was designed by female architect Anna Ryan and Isabel Roberts. The library was dedicated in 1923 and was operated by the Women's Club of St. Cloud until it became part of the Osceola County Library System in 1968. The building served as the county's library for over 50 years until it moved in 1974 and was later used as a resale shop. The City of St. Cloud purchased the building in 2001 and established the St. Cloud Heritage Museum run by the Women's Club of St. Cloud, which opened in 2008. Let's see, and it looks like this building is on the National Register, hello there, cameo, of Historic Places by the United States Women's Club of St. Cloud. I can't see anything through the window and the door is locked, but definitely a cool looking building. Right beside it, the Veterans Memorial Library. 1922, St. Cloud Historic Preservation. Museum hours are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This is the story of my life. I go off on adventures and I don't look up if things are open. Today is a Tuesday. Aren't these beautiful old buildings though? Look at those windows. How freaking cool. Alright, what does this sign say? And we'll keep moving. St. Cloud Heritage Museum, established 2005. The next historical marker is going to be on the sign of this building. It is for Coble's Garage. We've got a nice mural here. Coble's Garage, located in St. Cloud, was built in 1914 and was the longest single floor space in the city at the time. The gas pump was located on the edge of the road, requiring drivers to leave their cars on the road as they filled up. Maybe that's what this is supposed to be. Little dog. This is a 50-foot by 100-foot structure, and it was the longest single-floor space in the city at the time it was built in 1914. Well, all right then, and here's our historical marker right here. Well, that's where we just were. This is where we just were before that. And our next marker, I think it's going to be on this building over here, which is currently an attorney at law. Yep, I think it's this one. It is for the Hamilton Distance Sugarcane Mill, and this beautiful mural to depict it. We were just talking about Hamilton Diston. In 1881, Hamilton Diston bought 4 million acres of land in Florida and worked to drain the Everglades to make the land suitable for agriculture. He dredged a canal between St. Cloud and Kissimmee, which exposed rich soil when it was completed in 1884. Diston established a 420-acre sugar plantation and built the Advanced Florida Sugar Manufacturing Company for $350,000. The plantation was eventually bought and became the town of St. Cloud. And here's our marker, artist Pia Debieva. That's beautiful. All right, this is the historical marker for this next building, and all the talk about this city being founded by the GAR. This right here is the Grand Army of the Republic building. The GAR was a nationwide organization for Union veterans of the Civil War, and St. Cloud was founded in 1909 as a community for these veterans. The local GAR chapter, L.L. Mitchell Post number 34, needed a larger hall as the town grew, so a new building was constructed with donations and volunteer labor. I like this building. The building was used for meetings, civic and social events, and was the largest GAR post in Florida and second largest in the country. The building features soldiers' names and regiments. Let's see here, it's on the Historic Register. A public auditorium with a stage and a painted curtain, and a private assembly room for the GAR. Military and community organizations, as well as plays, movies, and graduations were held here. The last Florida GAR encampment was held in 1940, and the last Union veteran in St. Cloud died in 1943. The hall was managed by the Masons until 1971, when it was sold to private owners. In 1997, the hall was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. That's super cool. And right here is side 1. Pause it if you want to read. I think that's pretty much exactly what I just said to you. Pause if you want to read, and I'll go around and show you the other side. Again, pause if you want to read. Next, we're going to visit Fisk Funeral Home, which has been around since 1915, when Carl E. Carlson opened his undertaking establishment in St. Cloud, Florida. Over the years, the business changed hands and underwent renovations, including a new chapel designed by an all-female architect team. Fisk Funeral Home, 1915. Wow. Look at this beautiful letters box. In 1949, Robert A. Fisk became the funeral director and eventually became the sole owner in 1983. Let me cross the street so we can look at it from over here. I'm a little creeped out being that close to a funeral home, not gonna lie. The funeral home has been a fixture in St. Cloud for most of the 20th century, and Bob Fisk also served as a local historian and co-authored a book about the town. Well, that is cool, and that is a neat looking building, isn't it? If you want to read the sign, feel free to pause. We can read this together. An associate of Frank Lloyd Wright. Wow. Alright, I have finished reading it. Pause it if you need to finish. I'm going around to the other side. Super cool. I have finished reading, so if you want to finish, if you haven't finished yet, pause it so you can finish. Agriculture became the backbone of St. Cloud's economy during the 1910s and 20s. The sandy soil and subtropical climate proved suitable for citrus, vegetables, and cattle ranching. Citrus groves in particular flourished, and packing houses were built to produce and ship fruit. Lake Tohopekaliga provided both irrigation and transportation, while also becoming a popular site for fishing and recreation. The Florida land boom of the 1920s brought a surge of speculative development to St. Cloud, as it did throughout the state. New subdivisions were platted and population increased. However, unlike some Florida towns that collapsed after the boom ended, St. Cloud remained relatively stable due to its agricultural base and established community. The next marker we're looking for is this mural here, called The Great Fire of 1917. On July 28, 1917, a fire broke out in a storeroom in St. Cloud, Main Street. It quickly spread to nearby businesses and apartments between 10th and 11th Streets. Volunteers tried to put out the fire with bucket brigades, but it was too strong. People were able to save some items from grocery stores, businesses, the post offices, and homes before they had to stop. The cause of the fire was suspected to be arson, but it was never solved. An artist named Juliana Davidson created a depiction of the fire. Wow, and I guess that would have happened. Oh, there's the spaghetti house. I've heard about Chimentos. It smells good. It smells like garlic bread right here. Wow, look at all these cute shops. There's a women's boutique. Some cute stores over there. So this is where the fire happened. I think I'm in the right spot, and I think there's supposed to be murals painted here, but I don't see them. There's supposed to be 4 historic murals painted in these arches with the numbers 7 through 10, and these were some of the very first people that lived here. I don't know. I think it might have been painted over because I'm not seeing the 4 firsts, and my Explore Here map tells me it is exactly right here. So maybe there's an error. I'll keep my eyes peeled for it. This mural is for the Hamilton Diston purchase of 4 million acres. We already know he bought 4 million acres of land, and this was the largest land purchase by any individual in history. Diston's plan was, of course, to drain the swampland north of Lake Okeechobee to make it suitable for farming. His canal system involved dredging the canal between Lake Tohopekaliga and East Lake Tohopekaliga, and his efforts played a major role in development of towns like St. Cloud. Super cool. I'm really bummed about those other 4 murals we couldn't find, but oh well, let's keep going. There is a truck parked in front of the next mural that I wanted, or the next historical marker that I wanted to show you, but it is for this building, St. Cloud's First National Bank, which opened in 1910, with locals investing over $100,000, twice as much as was required to open the bank. It was a narrow 2-story building made of sand brick. Let's cross this road safely, shall we? Wood beams and concrete block. The bank issued $10 notes with a picture of its first president, William H. Lynn. Although the bank failed in 1917, the building remained an important part of downtown St. Cloud, housing many community organizations and businesses. In 1992, let's cross again, the Chamber of Commerce bought the building and restored it in 1997 with a state historic preservation grant. It now serves as the Chamber's headquarters and a museum dedicated to St. Cloud history. Oh, America 250. Let's see. Here's the sign. I think that's almost exactly what I just read. Pause it if you want to read. Well, I was a little confused by the sign. That is no longer a museum. It used to be a museum. There's the St. Cloud Water Tower. It is now just the Chamber of Commerce, and I didn't know what a Chamber of Commerce was, but I wasn't afraid to ask, and the lady told me that a Chamber of Commerce helps local businesses get established, and she said they have 325 local members. So that is really cool. And now I'm gonna walk down to the Veterans Memorial Park and check out the different memorials that are there. All right, let's go explore the Veterans Park. Let's see. Nice playground over here. This is the Veterans Park and Band Shell. The title of the text is, okay, I'm reading the description of the marker. In 1929, the St. Cloud Tribune advocated for a local beautification program, leading to the creation of a commission overseeing multiple projects, including Veterans Park. In honor of Joseph P. Neer, whose unique craftsmanship made the band shell possible. By the summer following the call, the city initiated these efforts. The State Road Department contributed soil from their Highway 192 project, and citizens volunteered trucks for transport. The community pooled $50 to hire a landscape architect for park plans, choosing native plants for easy maintenance. The American League donated bricks for walkways, and machinery from nearby excavation assisted in constructing an artificial pool. A rarity. A rarity in Florida at the time. Sorry, I got distracted by the cool building. A pool being rare in Florida blows my mind. On June 13th, 1937, Veterans Park was dedicated by Mayor Clarence C. Smith to U.S. Armed Forces veterans with a Coquina Rock Memorial marker. It remained significant to the community, raising $312.64 for a band shell construction. Groundbreaking for the band shell began on May 22, 1952 under Joseph Neer, but additional fundraising was needed by year's end. The JCs joined in the effort in 1954, working nights and weekends for completion. Concerts started in early 1955, despite the band shell's unfinished state, further funding its completion. Dances and fundraising continued until the band shell's dedication on November 20th of 1955, with a ceremony featuring the Boy Scouts and St. Cloud High School Band. As of 2023, the band shell remains one of the few from its era still active in Florida. It just smells like old building back there. Man, this feels like a sock hop and a half, doesn't it? It totally feels like a sock hop. Alright, we got some markers out here. Let's go check these out. I hope you saw enough of the band shell. Let's see, I don't want to miss anything. Spanish moss, don't you love it? I had a hard time getting in here. I had to pass see, that's a gate right there, but it's not open. I passed a couple gates actually that were, didn't look like they were open, but I went around the side. We're good. Doesn't look like there's anything here. Got a bench. I think this is the Gar monument that I saw as I walked around, which I definitely want to check out since we learned what the Gar is. Yes, in memory of the Grand Army of the Republic and those Union veterans who in 1909 settled the Wonder City of St. Cloud. At 1101 Massachusetts Avenue stands the Gar Memorial Hall, which held the Lucius L. Mitchell Post 34. Beers. A Skanska USA company. Wonder what used to be here. I bet this is the Coquina. Ooh, let's get a picture. Wouldn't that make a good thumbnail, guys? On the sign where it said a Coquina monument. Well, that looks like an old water fountain or something. Well, maybe not. In memoriam of Donald A. MacLean. McLean or MacLean, I'm not sure. What is this? Donated by ABC Kids, 2001-2, and John 3:16. But was ist das? Military equipment has been preserved for viewing only. Okay, so this is a cannon, right? A machine gun? Dedicated to our deceased comrades in arms by Frederick Funston Camp, number 22, United Spanish War veterans, St. Cloud, Florida, 1947. Oh, here's the Coquina. That'll be it. Hang on, let's see what this says. This is a stone from Ohio's first Capitol building, Chillicothe, Ohio, AD 1800, presented by Mr. and Mrs. Geo E. Lemley, 1940. This says, dedicated to Major Sterling Phillips, Department Commander of the USWV, Department of Florida, 88 to 89. Dedicated to Charles R. Head, Department Commander of Florida, United States War Veterans, 1936, June to July of 1936, by the Department Auxiliary. This one is dedicated to William Hankins, Department of Florida Spanish War Veterans, July 1936 to 1937. Dedicated to John Love, Department of Florida, United Spanish War Veterans, 1945 to 46. Charles O. Foster, Department Commander of Florida, United States Spanish War Veterans, 1943 to 44. This is the gate that I was saying I don't think I can get in. This would be the Coquina Rock, Memorial Park to Veterans of All Wars, 1937. We got some flags. Let's see. I can't tell if the one on the left, is that the POW flag? It's not waving. Or is it the GAR flag? We have the US flag and the Florida state flag on the right, but I'm not sure what that one is. What is this? Well, what is it? Is it the same as the other? Look how dry rotted these tires are. There's lizards everywhere. Alright, what is this? Ammunition, AMUNITION, compartment access. U.S. Army, serial number 681705, number 2. City of St. Cloud, Veterans Memorial Park, 2004. This plaque is to recognize the dedication of the City of St. Cloud employees whose hard work built the Veterans Memorial Park helicopter pad. Cool. Look at the size. Those chopper blades. Wow. Alright, there's another monument. Let's see if I can pull up what it is. You just look at this helicopter for a minute. I'm going to try to tell you. There's another monument, but there's people having a picnic under it. It is a monument to Confederate veterans. I don't want to bother them. I think they've been here for a while. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like. Can you see on my screen? That's what it looks like, but I don't want to bother the people who are picnicking underneath it, let's say. It's a list of names on the Confederate Veterans Monument. The front has a list of names including Jacob W. Adderhoss and Lawrence J. Griffin. A bunch of other names. It looks like it's actually just a bunch of names. Okay, we're gonna skip that monument and we'll do this last one and we'll get out of here. Big frickin' truck. But what is it? SSG. That's the only thing I see. Huh. The only information are signs that say don't climb on it. So you might be able to see out of the corner of your eye the Veterans Memorial over there. But we're not going to go over near it. Ooh, a marker that I missed. The Thunderstorm Project. Can you read this? NACA, a forerunner of NASA. Very cool. I totally missed this whole marker. I have read it. Pause if you need to finish it. I don't think this is our next historical marker, but I did want to share this lovely mural. Directly on the other side of that building is this mural called the Old Mule Stable. The Old Mule Stable in St. Cloud on Main Street used to be a mule yard on the south side of 13th Street. It was transformed into a new city park on March 29th of 1928. A band shell was built, we were just there I guess, in 1936, and the park was dedicated as the Veterans Memorial Park on June 13th, 1937. The park now has equipment commemorating veterans from various wars, including, okay, here's more information, a brace of cannon donated by the United Spanish War veterans in 1947. The artist of this information is Pia de Biedma. And that's lovely. Here is our little marker. It got warm out here, but I'm having the best time. This is so fun. I don't know if we're going to be able to knock them all out or not, but we're going faster than I thought we would.
The Great Depression slowed growth and strained the local economy, but St. Cloud endured. Many residents relied on farming and subsistence agriculture, which helped cushion the effects of economic hardship. Federal New Deal programs brought limited infrastructure improvements, including road construction and public works. World War II marked a turning point. While many younger residents left to serve in the military, the war also laid the groundwork for post-war growth. Florida's expanding role in military training and aviation during the war increased the state's long-term population and economic importance.
Right now we are at the St. Cloud Fife and Drum Corps Monument. Which is right here. The St. Cloud Veteran Fife and Drum Corps used to play on Main Street in St. Cloud. The Grand Army of the Republic Post 34 helped bring many Union veterans to St. Cloud in the early 1900s. The GAR Fire and Drum Corps welcomed those veterans with performances at parades and other events. Jay Burbank helped start the GAR Fire and Drum Corps. This information was illustrated by Amy Rosebush.
After World War II, St. Cloud gradually lost its identity as a veterans-only community. As the original Civil War veterans passed away, the restrictive clauses barring Confederate veterans became irrelevant and unenforceable. The town diversified socially and economically, though it retained a reputation as a quiet, orderly community. Like many southern towns, St. Cloud was segregated during the Jim Crow era. African American residents lived primarily in separate neighborhoods and attended segregated schools. Desegregation came slowly in the 1960s following federal civil rights legislation reshaping schools and public life. These changes were often met with resistance, but ultimately aligned St. Cloud with broader national transformations.
This mural is called Joyland Beach and Bathing Beauties on Main Street, St. Cloud. Joyland Beach had a pier and a dance hall near Ohio Avenue that provided entertainment for the town. It replaced a boat and bathhouse that was destroyed twice, once in 1911 and again in 1923. A new bathing pavilion was built and opened 2 months later. Unfortunately, in July of 1935, the bathing pavilion was destroyed by fire along with its contents. And here is our historical marker.
For much of the mid-20th century, St. Cloud remained a small town oriented around agriculture and local commerce. This began to change in the 1970s and 80s as Central Florida experienced explosive growth fueled by tourism and development associated with Walt Disney World, which opened in nearby Orange County in 1971. Although St. Cloud did not become a tourist hub, its proximity to Orlando made it attractive to commuters and families seeking more affordable housing and a slower pace of life. Residential subdivisions expanded and the city began to modernize its infrastructure.
This is a mural called Horse-Drawn Wagon, and it shows a horse-drawn wagon delivering ice from the St. Cloud electric and ice plants to homes and businesses. The plant was able to produce 10 tons of ice per day when it reached its full production capacity in 1911. The artists who created this mural are Tran and Siska, and it is located on St. Cloud's Main Street.
In the 21st century, St. Cloud has transformed into a growing suburban city while still preserving much of its historic character. Downtown redevelopment efforts have emphasized historic preservation, walkability, and community events. Many early 20th century buildings remain in use, and local leaders have promoted the city's distinctive past as part of its identity. The city's population has grown significantly, driven by regional growth in Central Florida. Despite this expansion, St. Cloud continues to emphasize its small-town roots, veterans' history, and connection to the natural environment, particularly Lake Tehopekaliga, which remains central to recreation and local culture.
This mural is for the original fire department garage, initially constructed in 1911 by NF Base for the Osceola County State Bank. Later, it became the St. Cloud City Hall after the town purchased it in 1920. The city added an extension to the south side of the building to accommodate the fire department as shown in the mural by Juliana Davidson. So was this the actual building? I'm a little confused. Was this the building here? Or is this just to represent the building? And look, right here's our historic marker right here. Another mural coming up. This is for the Seminole Land and Investment Company. It was founded by the Grand Army of the Republic to establish a retirement colony for veterans. They purchased 35,000 acres of a defunct sugar plantation. I guess we know which sugar plantation that was. in 1909 and named it St. Cloud. The company promoted the location through their newspaper, and veterans could pick up their deeds at the company office. John Votel is the artist who created this. Mural is for the St. Cloud Sugar Belt Railway. The St. Cloud Sugar Belt Railway, wow, that's a mouthful, was built in 1890 to transport sugar from Kissimmee to Narcoossee. It also carried passengers and other goods. In 1917, the original wooden depot was replaced with a brick station called Sunnyside. Wow. Oh, that's it. That's it. Well, hang on. Let me show you the marker just to prove we were here. Screenshot. So it's that. Oh, that looks like a railway depot, doesn't it? I had a really good time going to the Winter Garden Railway Museum. It's one of those things I'm not really that interested in rail history, but it just keeps finding me, and I really enjoy it when I have a chance. That looks like a train station too, doesn't it, kind of? Collecting historical markers of any kind. I swear, it is my Pokemon Go. Dedicated to our veterans of all wars. This beautiful little fountain here. This is my Pokemon Go. I could do this all day, every day. I absolutely love running around searching for anything anyone has ever done to mark history. I love it. I just love it all. Okay, little free library detour. Oh look, Night at the Museum. I loved this movie. I didn't bring a book to leave, so I wouldn't feel right taking one. I am really wanting to read a book called A Land Remembered, which I have never read, but I've heard about it, especially since we just moved here to Florida. So if one pops up in a little free library, I will absolutely be borrowing it. This marker is not on the map. Erected by Osceola Post 3227, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and it is a roll call of World War I veterans 1917 to 18. Some Lees, some Levi's, McClellans. To go all the way down to the end of the street here at the St. Cloud City Hall for the Sugar Belt Railway. Let's read this together. Pause if I read faster. Oh, so they had a library here just like that little free library we just saw. Super cool. And here's a little better look at the other side of the depot.
St. Cloud's history stands out in Florida for its deliberate founding as a Union veterans colony, its northern cultural roots, and its evolution into a modern Central Florida city. From its beginnings as a post-Civil War experiment in veterans' welfare to its present role as a growing residential community, St. Cloud reflects broader themes in American history: reconciliation after war, migration and settlement, agricultural development, and suburban expansion. Its story is not just a local one, but a window into how national events shaped even the quietest corners of Florida.
Hang on, this historical marker was not on the Explore Here app, so let's read this one together. Okay, pause if you want to read. I have finished. I'm going to the other side. Wow. All right, we'll have to figure out how to add this. Pause if you haven't finished reading. They must be talking about this building. They must be talking about this building. Wow. Isn't that lovely? Wow. A brunch place, a hair salon. These are the things that are in here now, I guess. Hunter Arms, yeah. Look at that old sign up there, can you see? Hunter Arms, 1926. Wow, just look at the roof. This is awesome. Wow, okay, I love this. I love this. I love this so much. We got a cafe here. Looks like a jewelry store. Handmade jewelry. The Purpose Room, faith-based goods. Cake and pastry. Well, what is this old sign over here? Letty's Fabric Shop. Hard goods, notions, needlework accessories, patterns, and greeting cards. Land of the free, home of the brave. I did not have a Queen Elizabeth II sighting on my bingo board. Can you even see her? On my bingo board for St. Cloud, but here you go. Okay, everybody. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I'm pretty sure I hit every single historical marker in St. Cloud. At least every single one that I could find on the Explore Here app, and I'm super excited about this series. I know this video has been so long. I went to an antique store after I finished the markers, and I was hoping to find like a postcard or something I could give away if there was anybody still watching this video, but I have not been able to find a St. Cloud specific postcard. But I did go to Publix. I wanted you to see these beautiful flowers. I have one more errand to do before I leave St. Cloud, and that will not be in this video, but I did want to share them with you. They're absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I think we'll head home and see what Michael's up to.
Good afternoon, guys, and happy lunch break to you. Amber and I just spotted something on our little walk out. It's warm. Oh, she's pulling me. It's warm enough now for Orange to come out today. It is 73 degrees, beautiful day, light breeze, and he is just chilling right here on the edge of the coast. So Amber and I are going to go out and enjoy a nice little walk while Julie is in St. Cloud today. I want to thank you guys, for those of you who've watched the podcast today. I didn't think anybody would really be viewing that, or that might not be what our audience really likes, but I wanted to try something new in the new year, and then of course we got into this house and it's taken a little while to get settled, so I decided to film one of those, and all the comments have been just wonderful so far, so I thank you for that. Secondly, I know my buddy Florida Bike Vlogger said that the microphone's a little bit distracting. I get you. I have not decided my setup yet, but that was the first way I decided to film, with the space that I had on my desk. In the future, it will not be as distracting, I promise. That's also a mic that we bought several years ago and have just not had the opportunity to use. And so I wanted to make sure that I also used that yesterday to kind of test it out. So we'll evolve, and as we do, of course, things will get better, I promise. I also finished my audiobook today, Atonement. excellent. Again, it was very mysterious the way that it ended. I really enjoyed, so the first part were in chapters, and then the second part wasn't. It was one long monologue, and part 3 was one long monologue, and then it finished up with a finale that could be seen as a letdown, could be seen as a sad ending, could be seen as the bad guy wins. But I loved it. I really liked it. I like those old mysterious stories. And so that was why my next book that I'm starting to listen to now is My Cousin Rachel by my favorite author, Daphne du Maurier. And My Cousin Rachel is one of those books. Depending on how you read it, there might be a different bad guy. There might be a different person you root for. What I think is spectacular about that book is that you could read it more than once and have different viewpoints. And I have. So has Julie. That's her favorite book. And so I wanted a different experience. And I ended up getting the audiobook because Jonathan Pryce narrates it. Look him up. You'll recognize his face even if you don't remember him immediately as to what he was in. I think the latest thing I've probably seen him in was he in The Pope? He was definitely in Game of Thrones. So the narration, I was curious to see how they would tone it and see how you would root for it. So I started that, I don't know, hour and a half ago. It's so good. So good.